the hidden science behind why women love high-value men. Let's begin with something that may hit you in the chest. If you're constantly trying to prove your worth to her, you've already lost her interest. Let that settle for a second. We live in a world that sold men a dangerous lie, that to keep a woman's attention, you must constantly give more, chase harder, and be readily available at all times. But here's the paradox. The more available you are, the less value you hold in her eyes. Not because she's cruel, not because she's playing games, but because human psychology works that way. Abundance lowers desire. Scarcity triggers obsession. When something is always there, you stop craving it. But when something is slightly out of reach, rare and unpredictable, it lives in your mind. And that, my brother, is what she feels when you embody the Stoic mindset. Conventional relationship advice is setting you up for failure. We've been brainwashed into believing that love is earned through suffering, that if you just do more, say the right thing, text at the right time, buy the right gift, and prove yourself, she'll fall head over heels. But here's the brutal truth. That kind of energy is repulsive to a woman who sees herself as valuable. You think she'll admire your persistence, but she sees desperation. You believe your over-availability is proof of loyalty, but she feels boredom. You assume she'll appreciate how much you bend for her, but she senses weakness. Let me ask you a question. Would you admire someone who made you the center of their life, even before you proved you deserved that place? Exactly. So, what actually works? Detachment. Not coldness, not manipulation, but the ability to be calm, grounded, and at peace, with or without her presence. That's power. When you stop making her the mission and start making yourself the mission, that's when everything changes. Because here's the truth. Women are naturally drawn to a man who has options. Not just women, but in life. Options in goals, options in purpose, options in how he spends his time, and most importantly, options in who he gives his energy to. She wants to feel like she's earned a spot in your world, not that you gave it away for free. Why your absence speaks louder than words. When you're always around, always texting, always initiating, you make yourself predictable, safe, easy. But when you focus on your life, your mission, your evolution, she starts to wonder, where did his energy go? Why isn't he chasing like the others? What's he doing that makes him so calm, so centered? That curiosity becomes attraction. That attraction becomes obsession. Your absence creates a vacuum, and nature hates a vacuum. She'll try to fill that space with your presence, your attention, your energy, because now you've become valuable, not by playing games, but by playing life at the highest level. This isn't about manipulation. This is about mastery. Let's be clear. This isn't about ghosting. This isn't about tricking her into wanting you. This isn't about punishing her with silence. This is about you stepping into your truth, owning your time, living your purpose, and from that place of abundance, realizing that you don't need her, which ironically makes her want you more. The moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts noticing. It all begins with this shift. So I'll leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, stop trying to prove your worth to anyone. Stop over-explaining yourself. Stop seeking attention. And start redirecting that energy into your growth, your peace, your purpose. And just watch. Watch who starts to notice. Watch who comes back. Watch who can't stop thinking about you. Stop chasing. Start creating space. Let's be brutally honest, brother. Most men today are living on autopilot when it comes to attraction. They think more effort equals more love. They've been taught that if she's pulling away, they should lean in harder, text more, prove themselves, be nice, be understanding, be available. But let me ask you, how's that been working out for most guys? Exactly. It leads to confusion, disrespect, and heartbreak. Because chasing communicates one thing, loud and clear. My value depends on your validation. And the moment you send that message, consciously or not, you've already lost your power. The harsh truth. Availability kills mystery. The more she knows you're always there, the less she feels the need to earn your time. And when someone doesn't have to earn something, they don't value it. It becomes expected, common. You become replaceable. But when you create space, when you don't flood her with constant attention, when you focus on your own path instead of making her your path, suddenly the energy shifts. She starts to feel the absence. She begins to notice the silence, and the silence whispers, "He doesn't need me to feel whole. He chooses me, but doesn't chase me." That's attractive. Creating space is not game playing. It's self-respect. Let's get this straight. We're not talking about manipulation. This isn't about ignoring her to get a reaction. That's immature and rooted in insecurity. What we're talking about here is living a life that's so fulfilling, so powerful, so purpose-driven, that you naturally become less available. Because you're not obsessing over her. You're building your body. You're building your mind. You're building your purpose. You're building a life that others want to be part of. And in doing that, you're not pulling away. You're pulling ahead. She feels your energy without you saying a word. Women are intuitive. They don't just hear what you say. They feel your energy. If you're anxious, if you're desperate, if you're afraid of losing her, she feels it, even if you're saying all the right things. But when you're grounded, when you're not reacting to her distance, when you're calm, centered, and focused on your mission, she also feels that. And that calm energy, that solid, unshakable presence, that's what separates high-value men from the rest. Space builds intrigue. Intrigue builds desire. Let's talk psychology. People want what they don't fully have. When something is scarce, it feels valuable. When something is always available, it feels disposable. This is not just human nature. It's basic economics. So when you're not constantly texting her, when you're not always available, when your presence becomes something she has to earn, you trigger a powerful shift in her mind. What's he doing? Why hasn't he reached out? Who has his attention? That's when you become irresistibly intriguing. That's when you start living in her head, rent-free. You're not ignoring her. You're prioritizing you. This isn't a game. It's a lifestyle. You're not ignoring her to get power. You're simply busy building the life you're destined to live. And if she fits into that life, amazing. If not, you still win. Because your peace, your purpose, and your power are not negotiable. True confidence is quiet, purpose-driven, unapologetic. Think about it. The men who are truly attractive, they're not loud. They're not begging for attention. They're moving with intention. They're unavailable, not because they're rude, but because they're building something that matters, and that's what makes them unforgettable. So the Stoic path, you detach from outcome, you anchor into purpose, you let the space do what words never could, because in your absence, she doesn't feel punished, she feels your value, and that is when she starts chasing you. She wants to join your mission, not be your mission. Let's get something straight. You are not here to orbit around a woman. You are not here to revolve your entire existence around someone else's emotions. That's not masculine energy. That's dependency dressed up as devotion. The harsh reality most men ignore. When you make her your entire world, when you drop everything for her attention, when your mood depends on whether she texts you back, you don't become attractive. You become predictable, weak, easy to control. And women don't respect men they can control. She wants to feel like she's part of something bigger. A high-value woman doesn't want to be the center of your universe. She wants to be part of a universe that's already powerful without her. She wants to step into your life and feel, oh, damn, this man has vision, direction, discipline. He's going somewhere, with or without me. That's magnetic. That's what makes her stay up at night thinking about you, not the guy who's always waiting by the phone. Purpose first. Everything else follows. Your mission comes first. Your goals, your health, your growth, your legacy. They are not distractions from love. They're the foundation of it. Because when a man is rooted in his purpose, he's not shaken by attention. He's not desperate for validation. He's not trying to prove anything. He already knows who he is. And that kind of energy, it draws people in without effort. You can't fake purpose. She will know. Women have a sixth sense. They can feel if you're truly grounded in something real, or if you're just pretending to have it all together while secretly needing her approval. You might be able to fool others, but you'll never fool her energy radar. That's why purpose is non-negotiable. Not because it impresses her, but because it centers you. When you lead your life, she follows your energy, not through control, not through games, not through manipulation, but through alignment. When your life is aligned with who you are, when your actions, values, and vision line up, you radiate certainty, and certainty in a man is rare. That's what makes you unforgettable. The Stoic reminder, you were not born to chase. You were not built to beg. You are here to lead, with presence, power, and purpose. Let her feel your mission through your actions. Let her see your world, not just your words. Let her want to earn a place in your orbit. Because when your purpose is clear, you don't chase, you choose. The silent power of absence. Let her feel the void. Let's talk about something most men are afraid of. Space, absence, distance. Not because it's wrong, but because they think if they're not always present, she'll forget about them. But here's the truth. If she forgets you that fast, she was never truly invested. Being always available doesn't build attraction, it kills it. Most guys think being available 24/7 is love. Let me reply instantly. Let me cancel my plans. Let me show her how much I care. But what actually happens? She starts taking you for granted. You become routine, expected, easy. You remove the mystery. You kill the tension. And without tension, there is no attraction. Scarcity creates value. Every time. What's more valuable? Water in the desert or water from the tap? Scarcity triggers the human brain to value what's rare. And when you're always around, always giving, always available, you become emotionally common, not because you aren't worthy, but because you're not protecting your energy. Absence isn't a game, it's a result. You don't disappear to punish her. You don't go silent to manipulate her. You become scarce because your life is full, because you've got things to build, goals to chase, standards to keep, a mission to honor. Your absence isn't a tactic. It's a byproduct of living with purpose. And guess what? That absence makes her mind wander. That space makes her reflect. That silence makes her feel. She has to miss you, or she can't desire you. Desire is born in absence, not presence. A powerful man lets her miss him. He lets her wonder, what's he doing? Why isn't he texting me back? Who's capturing his attention? Let that tension build. That's not manipulation. It's masculine presence without neediness. You must be willing to be forgotten to be remembered. Read that again. You must be willing to be forgotten to be remembered. That's Stoic strength. That's inner power. It says, I am not here to be everything for everyone. I am here to be everything for myself and allow others to choose if they align. That's the man she can't stop thinking about. Not because he's chasing her, but because he's too focused to chase anyone. Emotional mastery, the calm that drives her wild. Let's cut to the core, brother. A man who cannot control his emotions will always be controlled by someone else, especially in relationships. You lose control, you lose respect, you become reactive, clingy, unpredictable. And guess what? That's when she starts to pull away. Most men are addicted to emotional reactions. She doesn't reply in a few hours, and you panic. She seems distant for a day, and you spiral. You start sending back-to-back messages, overthinking, imagining the worst. But here's the truth. She's not testing you. Life is. Life is testing if you can remain centered when things feel uncertain. And women, they sense that storm inside of you, or your stillness. Calmness is a superpower. And women crave it. Let me make something very clear. Women are drawn to the man who stays calm under pressure, the one who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't beg, the one who doesn't fall the second she pulls back. Because that man, he's rare. He's the rock in the world full of chaos. He's not here to control her. He's here to control himself. And that level of self-mastery, that is deeply attractive. Suppressing versus mastering your emotions. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being ruled by what you feel. You can be disappointed and still be composed. You can feel desire and still have discipline. You can love her without losing yourself. That's emotional leadership. And women follow men who can lead themselves first. She needs to feel your frame, not your fragility. If you get shaken every time she shifts, she won't feel safe with you. She doesn't want a boy trapped in a man's body. She wants a man who doesn't need her to feel whole. She wants the kind of man who can say, I care about you, but I don't chase chaos. I offer peace. If you want that, I'm here. If you don't, I keep walking. Simple, unshaken, unapologetic. Your emotional power is your masculine edge. When you stay calm, she leans in. When you don't react, She gets curious. When you don't need to prove, she starts to pursue, because now you've created contrast. You're not like every other guy. You don't argue, you don't beg, you don't fold. You lead with stillness, and in that stillness, she finds both mystery and magnetism. Real confidence, not flashy, just unshakable. Let's get this straight. Confidence isn't loud. It's not cocky. It's not a performance. It's quiet, calm, unbothered. And when it's real, it speaks without saying a word. That's the kind of confidence high-value men carry. And women, they're magnetically drawn to it. Confidence isn't built by talking. It's built by doing. You can't fake confidence. You can fake bravado. You can fake charm. But you can't fake the deep-rooted certainty that comes from actually becoming competent. Think about it. A man who has invested years into his craft, a man who's put in the reps, who's sharpened his mind, refined his body, and aligned his purpose. He doesn't need to seek validation because he already approves of himself. Self-approval over external validation. Here's where most men lose the game. They chase compliments, they flex material things, they try to impress her to get love. But a high-value man, he walks into the room already knowing who he is. He's not trying to win her. He's deciding if she fits into his world. That's a whole different energy. And that difference, it's exactly what makes him stand out from every other guy trying too hard. Material things don't make you confident. Let's clear this up right now. Confidence doesn't come from your car, your clothes, or your bank account. Those things can be taken away overnight. But your mindset, your resilience, your self-trust, untouchable. The man who's been through storms and stayed standing. The man who's failed and got back up. That man carries a weight in his presence that no watch or suit could ever replace. Competence equals confidence. Want to feel more confident? Become useful. Become skilled. Stack small wins. Then stack bigger ones. Don't wait to feel ready. Earn your own respect by doing hard things consistently. Because when you start proving things to yourself, you stop needing approval from anyone else. And that is when women start respecting you differently. They feel it. They sense it. You're not bluffing. You're becoming. Confidence is felt, not just seen. You don't need to tell her you're confident. She'll see it in how you speak, how you move, how you handle tension, how little you need her validation. She'll feel it when you don't chase, when you're content in solitude, when your attention is a gift, not a cry for affection. That's what makes her think, he's different, he doesn't need me, and that makes me want him more. Emotional mastery, the calm that commands respect. Let's talk about something powerful, something almost mystical in the modern world. Emotional control. Not emotional suppression, not faking a smile, but true mastery, the kind that allows you to feel deeply without reacting impulsively. You see, most men, they are ruled by their emotions. Their moods control their decisions. Their desire for women controls their dignity. And in the process, they lose themselves, but not the high-value man. Your calm is your power, a man who can stay composed, who doesn't flinch under pressure, who doesn't spiral when he's ignored, rejected, or tested. That man is rare, and rare is valuable. A woman instantly notices it. When you don't over-explain, when you don't react emotionally to her emotional waves, when you hold your center while others are losing theirs. That's not coldness. That's leadership. Why emotional control attracts respect. When a man has control over his emotions, it signals two things. 1. He trusts himself. 2. He's not easily moved. That's magnetic. She knows. This man won't fall apart if she's upset. He won't beg. He won't panic. He won't lose his frame. Instead, he'll hold steady, observe, and respond when necessary. Not out of neediness, but from choice. Feeling everything. Reacting to nothing. True Stoic mastery isn't about being emotionless. It's about mastering your internal world. You can feel disappointed, but remain graceful. You can feel anger, but stay measured. You can feel desire, but not be enslaved by it. That's the man who stands out. That's the man who doesn't argue, because he doesn't need to prove. He doesn't fight for attention, because he doesn't chase validation. He simply is. Chaos doesn't shake him. It reveals him. In chaos, most people collapse. But the Stoic man, he becomes sharper. He's unshaken when she tests him. He's unmoved when others try to provoke him, because his sense of worth isn't tied to anything external. She feels that energy, and it changes how she sees you, from someone who wants her to someone she wants to earn. Stillness is seductive. Here's a secret. Stillness is rare. Silence is powerful. Slowness is seductive. A man who doesn't rush to fill every silence. A man who doesn't chase every mood swing. A man who can sit in his solitude without reaching out. That man becomes unforgettable. Because in a world full of loud, reactive men, the quiet, calm, collected one becomes a mystery. And mystery is irresistible. You don't need to control her. You don't need to fix her. You only need to master you. That's what high-value men do. And when you pair emotional mastery with genuine confidence and purpose, you become the type of man she can't stop thinking about. Let's go deeper into that purpose and presence in this chapter. Purpose. The unshakable center of high-value men. Let's make something clear. A man without purpose is a man easily lost in emotions, in relationships, in life, and worse, he becomes the type of man who revolves around her world instead of building his own. Why purpose makes you magnetic? Here's the truth most don't want to admit. Women don't fall in love with men who orbit them. They fall in love with men who are anchored in something bigger. A mission, a vision, a craft, a direction. When you're walking a path that lights you up from within, your presence changes. You stop seeking approval. You stop chasing women for fulfillment. You stop needing to prove your worth because your life already speaks for it. She doesn't want to be your life. She wants to join it. Most guys try to impress women by making them the center of their lives. But what happens when you put someone on a pedestal? They look down on you. High-value men don't do that. Instead, they invite women into a life already full of movement, growth, and self-respect. Not as the center, but as a witness to the mission. And guess what? That's what makes you attractive. Because a woman doesn't want to be your world. She wants to feel lucky to be part of it. Your mission is bigger than any emotion. Your purpose gives you perspective. So when things get hard, when she pulls away, when she tests you, when life throws chaos, you don't collapse, you don't beg, you don't overreact, you return to your work. Because your identity is tied to progress, not attention. And that's power most men never taste. Become the mountain. Ever notice how mountains don't chase? They don't argue. They don't explain. They simply stand tall, and the world adjusts around them. That's what your purpose makes you. Grounded, centered, undeniable. She feels that. She feels it when you don't rush to reply. She feels it when you don't cancel your goals to entertain her moods. She feels it when you stay focused, no matter what she does. This energy is rare, and women sense it instantly. You don't even have to say much. When you walk with purpose, your energy does all the talking. You enter the room differently. You carry yourself differently. You speak less. But when you do, it lands. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you don't need to. You're already full. And women can't stop thinking about men who don't need them to feel worthy, but still choose them with calm, intentional presence. Purpose isn't just about success. It's about identity. Without it, you float. With it, you stand firm. And when you combine purpose with emotional mastery and detachment, you become a man with presence so strong, she'll feel your absence even in a crowded room. Let's explore how that strategic absence creates magnetic attraction in next chapter. The power of absence. Make her feel the space. Let's talk about something most men are afraid of. Space. Not the space between the stars, but the space between you and her. That silence, that pause, that absence. It's uncomfortable, right? But here's the truth. Most men lose women not because they're too distant, but because they're too available. Constant availability kills. Mystery, when she always knows where you are. When she gets instant replies. When you cancel plans just to see her. You become predictable, ordinary, easy, not valuable, but accessible. And that's not how attraction works. Why? Because humans desire what they can't fully grasp, and women, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to mystery and contrast. Not because they want games, but because the unknown creates interest. Absence isn't punishment, it's power. Let's get this straight. Detachment is not manipulation. Strategic absence is not a game. You're not ghosting her to make her chase you. No, you're simply living your life, focused, driven, grounded. So sometimes you'll be unavailable, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're actually hard to get. And when your time is limited by your mission, your presence becomes scarce. And what's scarce becomes valuable. She starts to think about you more. When you're not around, this is where it gets powerful. When you're always there, her mind doesn't have time to miss you. But when you disappear into your purpose, into your own world, she starts to wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Why isn't he reaching out? That wondering turns into curiosity. Curiosity turns into attraction. And attraction turns into pursuit. The paradox of detachment. Here's the Stoic secret. The less you need her, the more she wants you. Because your detachment says something louder than any words ever could. I want you, but I don't need you. And that, my friend, is magnetic. It's calm. It's confident. It's high-value energy. You're not chasing. You're choosing. Let that sink in. You're not begging for her attention. You're not bending your schedule. You're not anxiously waiting for texts. You're a man on a path, and any woman in your life must respect that path or be left behind. And guess what? That creates deep desire, not just for your attention, but for your presence, your energy, and your leadership. When you're not always available, you become memorable. Your presence lingers even when you're not around. So don't be afraid to give her space to miss you. That space isn't emptiness. It's echoes of you.